Right now, Warriors aren't the top DPS class in Season of Discovery. We can see that it looks like pretty much all the range DPS are smoking us right now. And the highest ranked Warrior is number 18 out of all players. The second highest ranked Warrior won't even be in the top 100. The rest of these entries, there are no Warriors in them. But should we be worried? I think we should think about what did it look like at the start of the BFD phase, and that's how we'd figure out, are we in a dangerous spot right now, Warriors? And I don't think so. As you can see, this is what the very first lockout of BFD showed us. It had Warriors doing about 20% less damage than marksmanship hunters. And we have basically the same thing happening now with Gnomer. The top damage, melee hunters, they're doing about 20% more than warriors are. Really, the only big difference between this graph and the BFD one is that there's a lot of classes between the top and warrior. However, notice how they're just a little better. Look at shamans, mages, druids. They're just an inch better. And come on, warriors are definitely going to scale better than these three classes. That's how it always has been. In fact, all of the classes above us probably scale a lot less good. So if we ended up on top when this is what we saw after just one lockout in BFD, I have a feeling it's going to happen again. I don't think that this data in Nomergon at all screams out to me that warriors are helpless. Let's check, what kind of damage are the top five warriors doing? Hmm. Look at this. So median for the top five is 275 DPS. And if we were to check all DPS players overall and check for the median in the top five, it'd be this Shadow Priest here getting about 360 DPS. Well, let's see what the warriors themselves are doing. This is the number one guy, it's Alando. He's using a two-handed weapon. And like all the other people we'll see today that are using two-handers, he's Mortal Strike spec. If they're using one-handers, they're Fury spec. Okay, so we see two-hander for the number one guy, two-hander on some fights, and one-handers on others for the number two guy. This epic, it's from the STV PvP event. It's pretty easy to get, and this sword is super easy. It's just from a quest that you have to do for RFD. It's available to both factions. So the number one guy, two-hander. Number two guy, both. Number three guy, just one-handers. Okay, so far, equal representation between one-handed and two-handed. But for number 4 and 5, they're both going to actually be using two-handers. So we'll see there's a Ravager for number 4, and then the STV PvP Mace for number 5. Interesting. So we have 3 people that are team two-hander, 1 that uses both, and 1 that's exclusively using one-handers. Kind of cool. Now let's try to take a little peek at these guys' gear. Remember, all these items are definitely not your BIS out of the weapons we looked at. But a lot of these other pieces, they're most likely not in the BIS either. Check out how many greens these guys are using. Greens usually aren't BIS items. Check out how many BFD items they're using. Look for these chokers. You could look at the trinkets also. Rogues and cloak, or rings and cloaks. Check this out. You see that there's a ton of pieces from the first phase that is still being taken into raid. Give it a couple more lockouts, you'll see the warriors will have much better gear, and then they'll have much better parses. But you might have to give it just a few more lockouts than BFD for us to catch up, because remember, the lockouts are going half as fast right now. For the first couple of weeks, we're going to get a lockout a week instead of 2. So that'll affect it also. I expect that warriors are going to be climbing up on the metrics in no time.